Let's be honest, in the world of enterprise AI, things are exploding. We've got models, tools, and agents popping up everywhere. And while that's super exciting, it can also be a recipe for total chaos. So today, we're going to look at how a really clever architectural choice from Microsoft Foundry can bring some serious order to this complex universe.
I mean, just think about your own setup for a second. You've probably got different teams spinning up different models using all sorts of tools, maybe even building their own custom AI agents. It's awesome, right? All that innovation? But it can get messy fast. It can turn into a real management nightmare where every new component is its own little island, creating security gaps, inconsistent policies, and just a whole lot of operational friction.
And this isn't just about being a little disorganized. We're talking about real business problems here. How do you make sure you're compliant when every single AI resource has its own security settings? How do you keep your networking and data access standards consistent across, dozens, maybe hundreds of different AI services? All that friction, it slows down innovation and, frankly, introduces a ton of risk.
It's a huge headache, but what if there was a better way? What if you could take that sprawling, complicated ecosystem and just manage it as one single unified thing?
Well, that is exactly the problem Microsoft Foundry is trying to solve. And their solution is honestly brilliant in its simplicity. It all comes down to this core concept they call the one namespace solution.
So what on earth is this namespace? Okay, think of it like a giant digital container. Instead of having every single AI service just floating around on its own, the namespace groups them all together under one big umbrella. It's like having one master keycard for an entire campus instead of a giant messy keyring for every single door. This single container, that is the key to managing everything like it's one cohesive unit.
And that's really the core idea here. This single namespace, it's the fundamental shift that makes everything else possible. It just unlocks this whole new level of streamlined enterprise-grade governance. So let's dive in and see what benefits this approach actually gives you.
Okay, first up, access control. See, with everything living under that one namespace, you can now use what's called Unified Role-Based Access Control, or RBAC. This means instead of trying to set permissions on every single resource, one for this model, another for that agent, you manage it all from one central place. You get a single, clear view of who can do what across your entire AI landscape.
And what's really smart about how Foundry does this is how it separates the duties. You've got your management roles for the big picture resource control, then you've got development roles for the people actually building the AI, and then completely distinct monitoring roles. This is so crucial because it lets your developers innovate and move fast without handing them the keys to the entire kingdom, the critical security and infrastructure settings.
All right, so you've got access locked down. The next massive win you get from this single namespace approach is unified networking and policy. The principle here is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You apply your security and compliance rules just once, at the top level, and then they get enforced everywhere, automatically. And this just shows the difference perfectly. The old way, over on the left, that was a management nightmare. You had to configure networking and security for every single AI resource you deployed. It was so repetitive and, let's be real, super prone to human error. But with the Foundry way, you define those policies one time at the central hub level. Then all your resources automatically inherit those settings. It is a true set-it-and-forget-it model for enterprise security.
So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, using Azure Policy, admins can set up guardrails. For example, imagine you're in a highly regulated industry like finance. You could create a policy that says, hey, we're only allowing the deployment of these pre-approved, internally audited AI models. And just like that, you prevent a developer from accidentally using some new, unvetted open source model. It's proactive governance. You're ensuring compliance from the get-go, not cleaning up a mess later.
Okay, so we've got unified access control and unified policies, all thanks to that single namespace. But where do you actually manage all of this? Well, it all comes together in one central hub, the Management Center.
You should think of the Management Center as your mission control for the entire AI ecosystem. It is that single pane of glass that administrators have been dreaming of. From here, you can see and manage all your projects. You can govern all those RBAC permissions we just talked about. You can track usage and quotas to keep costs in check. And, so importantly, you can monitor model performance and safety settings. It's all there. Complete visibility and control, all in one place.
And really, when you boil it all down, all of these features, the single namespace, the unified RBAC, the centralized policies, they all serve one main goal:
and this quote sums it up perfectly. The whole idea is to free up your developers to do what they do best, build amazing, innovative AI applications. They shouldn't have to be infrastructure or compliance experts, because the platform handles all that heavy lifting for them.
And the result of all this? It's basically the holy grail for enterprise AI. You get rapid innovation, but with that rock-solid, enterprise-grade governance baked in from the very start, not just bolted on as an afterthought. You get to have both speed and safety together.
This architectural shift, moving from managing tons of individual services to managing one unified platform, it really represents a true platform-as-a-service mindset for AI operations. And it leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. Is this unified, platform-centric model the future of enterprise AI governance? It's definitely a compelling vision for taming all that complexity.